Question for married men. What differentiated the woman you chose to be your wife compared to other women? She was the first woman I dated with a really good head on her shoulders, smart with money, responsible but fun, and wanted to know all my friends and go on every adventure with me. Marrying her was the best decision I ever made. Other girls felt like I was visiting a place. My wife makes me feel like I'm home. We're both the same type of weird. We laugh at the same stuff while our friends make weird faces about it. We hate most of the same things. We both have a sense of humor that pretty much only one another really appreciate. She's my everything. I could trust her to build with me and not run out when things got bad. On our third date, I was driving her home after a wonderful time. We had watched a movie at my place and started holding hands in the middle. We were young and inexperienced, so moving slow. We kissed before we started driving, and then on the way to her place, my car had a major fucking meltdown. My cruise control burned out and something fused. PT cruisers are death traps, in addition to looking stupid, and I was unable to fully brake. Got off the freeway doing about 40 and had to pull my e-brake and hope for the best. She never panicked, she just offered suggestions and remained calm, and once we were safe, she called AAA. I figured if she could handle that experience, she could handle just about anything. Been together 10 years, married for 6. We had much more in common: financially, philosophy, housekeeping, and political. Those were the 4 corners we both were looking for. She's the first woman I dated who I felt I could just be myself with. I never had to impress her or felt like I needed to be anyone else, but just me. She said, "Are you going to ask me to marry you, or what?" We'd been friends for 5 years at that point and had been very definite that we were just friends, not getting into a relationship, etc. She was better than me at noticing our friendship had just turned into love over time. We got married a year later, and that was 14 years ago. We got to know each other, we found out we were long-term compatible, and we fell in love slowly and solidly. My other relationships had definitely been us falling in lust, in hindsight. Plus, she could not only put up with my shitty puns, but hold her own with them. Definite keeper. Her uncanny ability to tolerate me. For 24 years. 3 major things in order of importance. First is that she was actually interested in me. That was never a long list of women, and the billions of women who weren't interested in me were obviously never realistic options. Second is that she never weaponizes my feelings against me like my ex did. She's seen me at my very worst emotionally, when my ex was finished destroying me, and she never made me feel bad about it. From the very beginning, she made herself the one person in the world I could confide in without having my heart ripped apart. In doing so, she made herself the one person in the world I could trust completely. To this day, almost 18 years after we first met, she's never once violated my trust. I'm old enough to know how unusual and special that is. Third is that she's a healthy, beautiful woman and I'm extremely attracted to her. There's always a bit of monkey brain involved. Once I met her, it was never going to be anyone else. She's a bright light in a dark world. She is smart, funny, and seemed like a really good person. My admiration for her grew the more I got to know her. Also, if I die, I hope she finds and reads this in my internet history. I always wanted her to stay. Other girls, I was always longing to be alone. Married someone who appreciates my knack for finding bargains on the most random things online. Together, we're the unbeatable bargain hunting duo. I can be myself around her. No, that's not good enough. I am empowered to be myself around her. When we're alone, there's no pretense, no judgment, no filter. There is intrinsic, natural, constant trust. She is herself and I am myself, and we encourage each other to be the best version of ourselves. I don't have to pretend with her. Every other woman I'd been with, there was definitely some measure of pretending. Oh, and we absolutely crack each other the fuck up. I mean, my sense of humor is lame, but she likes it, but she is absolutely bonkers hilarious in a way I've never seen in anyone else. Oh, and she's sexy with nice boobies. That's definitely not a factor. I asked my husband this about a week ago. He said the sex was mind-blowing and my mind was sexy. I must still do it for him because I was just diagnosed with breast cancer and he made it clear he's in for the long haul. After we had our first big argument during our dating phase, I was sick with a runny nose and fever. She went to the drugstore and got some medicine and such for me. Even when she was mad at me, she still fought to help me, and that's how I knew she truly cared. She was kind, authentic, earnest, deeply committed to healing and a healthy relationship. But I didn't know that when I first laid eyes on her and knew I'd marry her. But it sure worked out well. We started dating at 18, and she was very responsible, thoughtful, gorgeous, and she had ambitions that she was working towards turning into reality in her own life. In short, she was already very grown up and way out of my league. I, on the other hand, only cared about my life on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis, and I had a lot of growing up to do. At one point I actually broke up with her because I wanted to see what the dating world was like, and after I went on a single date each with 4 other women I realized I was absolutely insane for breaking off my relationship. We got back together, and I resolved to become the man that is her equal and life partner. 16 years later I am still working hard every day to be at my wife's level. She was very different from the other women I had gone on dates with. She genuinely seemed interested and engaged. She would text me first, call me just because she wanted to talk. She laughed at my jokes and made me feel special. Gave me lots of compliments. The other women I was going out on dates with were real sticks in the mud, putting forth no effort whatsoever, never texting first. I was always the one having to lead the conversation. It just seemed like a lot of the women I was coming across were more than happy to put the onus of our interactions on me, and they were simply there to react to whatever I did or said. I was their dancing monkey, and if I danced enough for them I would get a treat. When I realized I wanted her smile to be the last I see every night, and the first I see every morning.